We are the Lilac Row. We are a third-generation family farm. The Lilac Row is a local flower farm where we grow everything from seed, and we love to do things like U-Picks and host on-farm events. We love to do wedding floristry and also workshops, so we're kind of interested in leaning into the educational aspect of how to garden and deal with this interesting environment here. We have such a strong family history to this place, and just being able to carry on a legacy in agriculture, it is really a privilege. For us, one of our values or things that we appreciate is getting to be women in agriculture. That previously was not something that was really prominent in agriculture, right? Our grandmother was very involved in the farm. She was not just kind of a typical housewife. Our mother runs this farm along with us, and finding opportunities for women to feel empowered and feel that you have a really important place in agriculture and we have a lot to bring to the table.
We've lived on this farm for a long, long time. We started with my husband and my brother-in-law, and we farmed with the four of us. Later on, we got on our own, and then my son and my daughter took over, and they are farming here. And now my granddaughters have a flowers store business, and you have to bloom where you plant it, and they bloom here with their flowers.
It's a beautiful and challenging experience working with your family, right? Like, you have kind of different relationships than you would in kind of a regular business, but you also have a layer of dedication, I think, to each other and to like whatever kind of venture that you're kind of a part of. There's just something to be said for knowing that the people that you're working with are always supporting you and kind of looking out for your best interests, and we kind of collectively are working towards this really amazing goal.